Good morning and welcome to today's edition of Rapid TV's continuously evolving social, political, and general interest show, Korero. Of course, I'm your regular host, Nkamiang John, the beloved, also known as the controversial. And today, as the federal government prepares to implement financial autonomy for local governments, there is a need to oversee the economic activities of local government officials. Especially to prevent corruption and, of course, misallocation of funds. Of course, even today, I came across a headline that suggested that even local government workers are appealing to the federal government not to give their salaries to the local government chairman for fear of not being paid as of when due. Well, today on the show, we intend to look at how the Tinubu-led administration has fared in terms of financial transparency and accountability, as this will definitely set the tone for what to expect as as the local governments attain financial autonomy, thanks to that Supreme Court judgment that has granted the local government's autonomy. But before we get into the crux of the matter, as always, it has become somewhat of a tradition for me to always remind you that the show is live and interactive, and we are streaming live on our website, www.rbnradiotv.com. We are streaming on Facebook, and of course, you can be part of the conversation simply by following and liking Rapid TV on all our social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, also known as IG, X, formerly known as Twitter, and we are on LinkedIn and on TikTok as well. We are at Official Rapid TV, at Official Rapid TV, and hopefully, during the course of the show, the studio lines will be live and active, so you also get to share your thoughts on today's subject of conversation as we look at financial transparency, local government financial autonomy, but more particularly an overview of financial transparency with regards to the current administration. So let's get down to the matter of today. Now, in the governance structure, local governments are often seen as the closest link between government and its citizens, acting as the primary interface for essential public services. Now, Section 7 of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, as amended, guarantees the existence of the local government. It prescribes the structure, composition, finance, and functions of local government councils. However, their effectiveness hinges significantly on one crucial factor: financial autonomy. Yes, financial autonomy. The financial autonomy of local government is more of a myth than a reality as far as our great nation is concerned. Yes, some school of thought will argue, if you pause that thought a bit, will argue that, yes, now there is a judicial backing to the now, and this is surprising because already constitutionally there is a law backing the establishment, the existence, and the function of the local government councils. But sadly, because of the nature of governance and style of government that we have witnessed in our great nation in the last couple of years, somewhat state governors of their own volition decided to erode that part of the Constitution, and it took will I say, political will of the current administration to take the matter to the Supreme Court, for the Supreme Court to now give it, would I say, judicial backing to what already exists in the Constitution, that for local governments to have financial autonomy and, of course, be recognized as the third tier of government. Now, it is anticipated that the recent Supreme Court judgment in the case brought by the Attorney General of the Federation against the 36 states of Nigeria will reinforce the principles of true physical federalism, which emphasizes that power and resources should be equitably distributed across various government levels. Now, to ensure that governance is both efficient and effective, the Supreme Court, in its judgment on Thursday, July 11, 2024, in AG Federation versus AG Abia State and ORS, decided that the local government councils can now directly receive their allocations from the Federation account, going by the functions of the local government set out in the 4th schedule of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended. Now, it becomes evident that the local government councils are typically created to be responsive, accountable, and serve as engines of economic growth and social development, to examine how the various functions of the local government contribute to the economic growth at the grassroots and national levels. Each provision will be looked at in the as we have this conversation. I'm looking forward to being joined in the studio by my guest, who fortunately works for an organization that is particular about the numbers, and especially when it comes to finance and financial transparency, financial accountability. Now, as the federal government prepares to implement financial autonomy for local governments, the advocacy group, Social Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, they've been in the news, of recent for a whole lot of things. But in this recent move, they have called for the anti-graft agencies to oversee the financial activities of local government officials to prevent corruption and misallocation of funds. Now, SERAP also recommended that the Minister of Finance, Olawale Edun, withhold federal allocations from states that have failed to conduct free and fair local government elections. Now, let's pause. Talking about free and fair local government election, yes, a number of states have carried out their local government elections. There is a stipulated time frame by law that these state governments should conduct local government elections. But if what has happened in Rivers is anything to go by, it tells you of the level of political corruption that exists even within the third tier of government, and that is understandable why SERAP is insisting that only states that have conducted free and fair elections should be given their federal allocations. Now, in the light of the alleged mismanagement of federal allocations by certain governors, SERAP urged President Tinubu to engage the EFCC and the ICPC to ensure transparent utilization of these funds. Now, the organization pointed out that trillions of naira meant for local councils have been misappropriated over the years. Of course, don't forget, there is a court judgment that is asking governors, as far back as I think 1999, if I'm correct, asking them to, account for local government funds that have been given them over the years. Now, SERAP's demand include a prompt implementation of the Supreme Court ruling, which prohibits governors from dissolving democratically elected local councils or replacing them with caretaker committees. Now, the organization reiterated that state governors lack the authority to manage or disburse allocations from the federation account to local governments, citing Section 162, subsection 3, and subsection 5 of the Nigerian Constitution. Well, as I did say, I would be joined shortly by my guest. He did confirm that he would be here this morning for us to have this conversation. This conversation was supposed to have taken place last week, but due to unforeseen circumstance, he couldn't make it, and we had to reschedule for today. But while I'm waiting for my guest to join me, it's not just in as much as we're beaming our searchlight on financial autonomy for local government councils, and the fact that a standard has to be set by not giving federal allocations meant for the local councils to state governors, and we're holding state governors accountable for whatever funds that has been allocated for local government councils but has not been released to them. We also need to also look at how the efforts of this current administration to be accountable to the people. Don't forget, a budget was presented to the National Assembly at the start of this year, and in the course of this year, we are in the 10th month of the year, just 2 more months to go, and the year 2020 will be over. Within the course of this year, this administration had consistently put forward supplementary budgets to the National Assembly. And the question is, how accountable have they also been to the Nigerian people with regards to the funds that they have been given? Of course, during the October 1, 2024 Independence Day broadcast by Mr. President, he didn't really give account, but he rather celebrated the achievements of his administration in terms of the ability to bring in foreign direct investment, which he said was worth over $30 billion US, and of course several reforms, both physical and monetary reforms that his administration have put in place. Now, these reforms have also resulted in severe hardship for the people of the country. As we speak, many Nigerians are living way below the poverty line. This has evidently been put forward by even the World Bank itself in its latest review of the Nigerian economy. But regardless, the Tinubu administration continues to celebrate the fact that, one, these are hard choices that have to be made and taken at this time to safeguard Nigeria from crashing anytime soon. But of course, some of us belong to the school of thought that suggests that these quote-unquote neo-liberalist economic theories have not really yielded any results in other countries before now who have followed this same principle, and that there is a need for us to look internally and rejig our approach to both monetary, physical policies with regards to Nigeria. But let's hear from Mr. President as he continues to celebrate the achievements of his administration in that Independence Day broadcast.
Dear compatriots, our independence anniversary gave us another chance to reflect on how far we have gone in our journey to nation building and to renew our commitment to building a better nation that will serve present and future generations of Nigerians. While we celebrate the progress we have made as people in the last 64 years, we must also recognize some of our missed opportunities and mistakes of the past if we are to become one of the greatest nations on earth, as God has destined us to be. Our mistake must not be followed into the future. My administration took over leadership of our country 16 months ago at a critical juncture. The economy faced many headwinds and our physical security highly impaired. We found ourselves at a distant crossroad where we must choose between two paths: reform for progress and prosperity, or carry on the business as usual and collapse. We decided to reform our political economy and defense architecture. On the security front, I am happy to announce to you, my compatriots, that our administration is winning the war on terror and banditry. Our target is to eliminate all threats of Boko Haram, banditry, kidnapping for ransom, and the scourge of all forms of violent extremism. Within 1 year, our government has eliminated many Boko Haram and bandit commanders faster than ever. As of the last count, over 300 Boko Haram and bandit commanders have been eliminated by our gallant troops in the northeast, northwest, and some other part of the country. We have restored peace to hundreds of communities in the north, and thousands of our people have been able to return home. It is an unfinished business, I agree, which our security agencies are committed to ending as quickly as possible. As soon as we can restore peace to many communities in the troubled part of the north, our farmers can return to their farms. We expect to see a leap in food production and a downward spiral in food costs. I promise you, we shall not falter on this. Our government has been responding to the recent natural disasters, particularly the flooding in the part of the country. After Vice President Kashim Shettima visited Maiduguri, I also visited to assure our people that this federal government will always stand with our people in their times of trouble. At the last meeting of the Federal Executive Council, we approved a disaster relief fund to mobilize private and public sector funds to help us respond faster to emergencies. Our government has also ordered integrity tests of our dams in the country to avert future disasters. The economy is undergoing the necessary reforms and retooling to serve us better and more sustainably. If we do not correct the physical misalignment that led to the current economic downturn, our country will face an uncertain future and the peril of unimaginable consequences. Thanks to the reform, our country attracted foreign direct investment worth more than $30 billion in the last year. Fellow compatriots, our administration is committed to free enterprises, free entry and free exit in investment while maintaining the sanctity and efficacy of our regulatory processes. This principle guides the divestment transaction in our upstream sector, where we are committed to changing the fortune positively. As such, ExxonMobil surplus divestment will receive ministerial approval in a matter of days, having been concluded by the regulator, NUPRC, in line with the Petroleum Industry Act, PIA. This was done in the same manner as other qualified divestment approved in the sector. The move will create vibrancy and increase oil and gas production positively, impacting our economy. The more disciplined approach adopted by the central bank to monetary policy management has ensured stability and predictability in our foreign exchange market. We inherited a reserve of over 33 billion 16 months ago. Since then, we have paid back the inherited forex backlog of 7 billion. We have cleared the ways and means debt of over 30 trillion naira. We have reduced the debt service ratio from 97% to 68%. Despite all this, we have managed to keep our foreign reserve at 37 billion. We continue to meet all our obligations and pay our bills. We are moving ahead with our fiscal policy reforms. We stimulate our productive capacity and create more jobs and prosperity. The Federal Executive Council approved the Economic Stabilization Bill, which will now be transmitted to the National Assembly. This transformative bill will make our business environment more friendly, stimulate investment, and reduce the tax burden on businesses and workers when they are passed into law. Fellow Nigerians, as I address you today, I am deeply aware of the struggles many of you face in these challenging times. Our administration knows that many of you struggle with rising costs and the search for meaningful employment. I want to assure you that your voices are heard. As your president, I assure you that we are committed to finding sustainable solutions to alleviate the suffering of our citizens. Once again, I plead for your patience as the reforms we are implementing show positive signs, and we are beginning to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Exactly 64 years ago, our founding fathers chose democracy as a form of government and launched the dream of a great country that will lead the rest of Africa out of poverty, ignorance, and underdevelopment. A beacon of hope for the rest of Africa and the world. Over 6 decades later, we can look back and Nigerians worldwide can see how well we have succeeded in realizing the lofty dream of our founding fathers. The world is witnessing and benefiting from the can-do spirit of Nigerian people, our massive intellectual capacity, and our enterprise and industry in all vocations, from art to science, technology to infrastructure. The dreams that our founding fathers envisaged are still work in progress. Every day, we put our hands on the plow, determined to do a better job of it. While it is tempting to focus on what has been left undone and where we have stumbled as a nation,
Right. President Bola Tinubu's October 1st Independence Day address, talking about the achievements of his administration and, of course, the policies that his administration has put in place, policy reforms, just to mention a few. Now, President Bola Tinubu has forwarded key fiscal policy reform bills to the National Assembly for consideration and passage. Now, the proposed fiscal policy and tax reform bill aims to enhance efficiency in tax compliance and align with the federal government's ongoing financial reforms. Now, this move is supposedly a significant step towards stimulating Nigeria's productive capacity, creating jobs, and promoting prosperity. Now, the president has also sent four other crucial bills to the House of Representatives. These include the Nigerian Tax Bill, the Nigerian Tax Administration Bill, the Nigerian Revenue Establishment Bill, and the Joint Revenue Board Establishment Bill. Now, during Nigeria's 64th Independence Anniversary speech on October 1, 2024, President Tinubu emphasized that these economic stabilization bills will make the business environment more friendly and stimulate investment and reduce the tax burden on the businesses and workers once passed into law. We're going to look at once my guest, he says he's close by, coming all the way from Kwali. So anybody who's lived in Abuja will know that the man had to travel to get to Garki, where we are beaming our transmission from. Anyway, let's quickly look at regulations 2024, which has been gazetted. Now, the deduction of tax at source, that's withholding tax, regulation 2024 has been published in the official gazette. Now, the regulations grant rates reduction and full exemption from withholding tax to many businesses, including SMEs with annual turnover not exceeding 25 million naira. Now, the commencement date of the new regulation is the 30th of September 2024. That was last month, and while that's about nine days ago or 10 days ago, while implementation of this tax reform begins on the 1st of January 2025. So we have some window, about 2 months plus, before the implementation of the withholding tax bill. Now, this is to allow for a minimum of 90 days notice required for tax changes in line with the 2017 National Tax Policy. However, there is a provision permitting the Federal Inland Revenue Service, FIRS, with the approval of the Finance Minister, to issue guidelines for the implementation of the regulations and where appropriate, permit early application of the regulations from the 1st of July 2024. Now, the essence of this provision is to enable persons who wish to adopt the regulations early to do so, given that it is generally providing relief to businesses rather than impose a burden. So these are some of the reforms that the President Bola Tinubu administration is putting in place to make life a little bit more easier with regards to the fiscal and financial reforms, and financial reforms that his administration is putting in place. So, while we still wait for my guest to join us shortly, we'll take some commercial break. And when we come back, hopefully my guest should be here, and we'll begin to talk the numbers and begin to look at in the perspective of transparency. How well has this administration done in terms of accountability, transparency? Because this will definitely set the tone for financial, the level of transparency that is expected from the local government councils, especially now that they have been granted financial autonomy. As I said at the earlier start of the show, there are reports that suggest that even local government employees are already crying out to say federal government shouldn't hand over their salaries to the local council chairman for fear of not being paid as of when due and paid what they are entitled to. So how do we allay these flares? The only answer, transparency and accountability. But hopefully when my guest comes back, he will be able to give us some further insight into our subject of conversation this morning. Until then, let's take some messages and we'll be right back.
From the heart of Africa, where dreams are born and passion is boundless, a new wave of talent rises. In La Liga, these extraordinary athletes are not just playing the game, they're transforming it.
Danny Rodriguez, the man chasing, it's Lamine Yamal! What a magnificent goal that
They
is!
shine on the world stage. Watch as they redefine football, inspire millions, and make history. La Liga, where dreams become reality.
Learning never stops in life. At the School of Media and Communication, SMC, Pan Atlantic University, we strive to impact the next generation of brand managers, corporate communication experts, advertisers, public speakers, and broadcasters. Not only will you learn in a serene, purpose-built environment, but you'll also get a chance to build strong, lasting relationships beyond the walls of the institution. Whether you enroll for the corporate identity and brand management, strategies for optimizing corporate communication skills, or advanced business communications, be rest assured that at SMC, we aspire to be the hub of learning in media and communication in the African continent. For more inquiries, call the numbers on your screen or email professionaleducation@smc.edu.ng. Visit www.smc.edu.ng/professional courses to begin your journey with us at SMC. SMC, optimizing communication, professionalizing the media.
Time is power. Our lives are powered by the sun. As the sun rises, so do we. As we trust it to rise and set without any worries interrupting your morning with our hybrid all-in-one inverter, powering our prosperity and happiness.
Sustainable future, making the shell. Start time solar.
But also nurture what is dear to us, powering trust and support, empowering us to do things that really matters. Start Times Solar, power your life.
Gallantry, the heroic exploit of the Nigerian military. It is a captivating television program that delves into the diverse and often unseen operations of the Nigerian Military Task Force, JTF, across the country's 6 geopolitical zones. Each episode will embark on a captivating journey, exploring a specific JTF operation within a unique zone. Viewers will be immersed in the heart of the action, witnessing firsthand the challenges, strategies, and triumphs of the Nigerian military as they tackle pressing security concerns in their respective regions. Join me every Saturday at 3 p.m. on Rapid Television, channel 176 on the Star Times decoder for an interesting expository package.
I am Major General Edward Buba, the Director, Defense Media Operations at Defense Headquarters. For more on our activities, stay tuned to Gallantry on Rapid Television.
You can as well follow us on all our social media handles.
From the heart of Africa, where dreams are born and passion is boundless, a new wave of talent rises. In La Liga, these extraordinary athletes are not just playing the game, they're transforming it.
Danny man chasing, it's Lamine Yamal! What a magnificent goal that
They
is!
shine on the world stage. Watch as they redefine football, inspire millions, and make history. La Liga, where dreams become reality.
Learning never stops in life. At the School of Media and Communication, SMC, Pan Atlantic University, we strive to impact the next generation of brand managers, corporate communication experts, advertisers, public speakers, and broadcasters. Not only will you learn in a serene, purpose-built environment, but you'll also get a chance to build strong, lasting relationships beyond the walls of the institution. Whether you enroll for the corporate identity and brand management, strategies for optimizing corporate communication skills, or advanced business communications, be rest assured that at SMC, we aspire to be the hub of learning in media and communication in the African continent. For more inquiries, call the numbers on your screen or email professionaleducation@smc.edu.ng. Visit www.smc.edu.ng/professional courses to begin your journey with us at SMC. SMC, optimizing communication, professionalizing the media.
Yes, it's still Rapid TV's evolving social, political, and general interest show, Correro. If you're just joining us, well, you haven't missed much, even though we have set the tempo for what promises to be an interesting conversation. Now, we are looking at the financial autonomy of local government as the federal government prepares to implement financial autonomy for the local government councils, giving rise for the need for oversight of the economic activities of local government officials to prevent corruption and misallocation of funds. Now, joining me, he's here finally, is the project officer for budget. Now, if anytime you hear the word budget, of course, you know these are the guys that have to do with numbers. They look at every naira and kobo and tell us where it goes, where it hasn't gone, and where it ought to have gone. Fortunately, we have the project officer for the Federal Capital Territory here. The man had to travel all the way from Kwali. The last time he was supposed to be on the show, he actually lost his phone, but I must recognize the taxi driver who found the phone and ensured that he got his phone back. So that's just to tell you that we still have good people in this country. Nigerians are not as bad as we are made to look at. Well, at this point, Garba Abdullahi, thank you for making our time to be with us.
Thank you so much for having me here.
It's a pleasure.
Yes.
Now, let me start from October 1st,
All right.
when Mr. President came out with the national broadcast. He talked about all the achievements of his administration. He was particularly emphatic about the foreign direct investment that his administration has been able to bring into the country, about 30 billion US dollars. He also highlighted physical policies that his administration has put in place. I want to know, because in recent times, budget seems to have been a bit quiet. In the past, budget is always almost on a monthly basis, hitting us the figures as to the expenditures of government, where money, what money was allocated, where that money was meant to be utilized, whether it has been utilized or not. Now, this administration, at the start of the year, there was a budget that was presented to the National Assembly.
Yes.
That budget was approved.
Yes.
But we've seen that in the course of 10 months, there have been supplementary budgets.
Of course.
Nobody seems to be asking questions about this supplementary budget. And here we are. Local government elections are being held across the country. The Supreme Court has given judgment about financial autonomy. Everybody is celebrating. But has a precedent been set by this administration for transparency and accountability in terms of the finances that have been allocated?
All right. Thank you so much once again for having me here. Well, my name is Garba Abdullahi. I'm the FCT Project Tracking Officer for Budget and the head of Tracker in FCT. Well, in these questions, has the president put in place the team, let me just call it committee, to check out these kind of financial systems that is going on. If you ask the government today, they will tell you that they have put people in place. But in reality, there is not any actions going on. That is why you keep on seeing the same thing happening in the past. So we don't know. And it's also few people that are asking these questions. Now, budget has taken it upon themselves to ask some questions of how the National Assembly prepare budget for the country. We discover a lot of lacuna and frivolous items being inserted into the budget. In fact, some are up to 460 something billion, 300 billion, a lot of figures being inserted into the budget. Most times they use MTAs and the agencies to put this figure into the budget to suit them. Okay, if the president sets in the committee, how will they be able to monitor this when they already know that these figures are just put to get into the pocket? How they will not know. Sorry, they will not be able to do that because these figures are being set or input into them for them to use it. Now, in Lagos, let me just give an example in Lagos because I'm the state officer for FCT. We have an agency, School Federal Polytechnic, is something that has inserted, they use the agency to insert a budget of over 416.6 billion for just construction of road. The same thing happened last 2 years, the same thing happened last year, and the same thing happened this year.
A repetition
of those figures.
Of those same figures.
Yes, inside the budget. So if Nigerians don't know, they will not be able to ask questions. It is people like us, like when I'm talking of this financial autonomy, now it is a very good step by the Mr. President to have said this, and also the judiciary, the law to have make sure that the citizen won in that aspect. But the problem is that who are those people coming to be the leader of the local government? Are they independent citizens that would want to do the work for people? Or they are just citizens by being appointed stylishly by the governor?
But we've just seen local government elections held across several states. Rivers State, of course, is boiling as a result of the fact that it held local government elections. And we hear that, I mean, the surprising thing or outcome of that election is that a party that nobody anticipated swept about 22 local governments out of 23.
Yes.
The PDP is angry, the APC is angry, even though we know that they pulled out of the local government elections prior to it holding across the state. So, looking at what has transpired, is there hope? Because right now, as I'm looking at you, the organized labor, for instance, comprising the Nigerian Union of Local Government Employees, NUOG, Nigerian Union of Teachers, NUT, Nigerian Union of Pensioners, NUP, has proposed a staff redistribution, placement and auditing exercise to ascertain the actual numbers of local government workers, primary school teachers and pensioners in all the 774 local governments across the country. Now, under the Joint Action Committee, JAC, of local government-based unions, they also recommended an embargo on recruitment of new staff into local governments, including teachers, for 1 year from the date of the Supreme Court judgment on direct payment to ensure stability and consideration. Now, these are parts of the recommendations the Joint Action Committee, JAC, aims at effective operations of local government during the direct remittance of federal government allocation following the recent Supreme Court judgment granting of financial autonomy to local government. So even workers at local government don't trust the local government
Chairman,
administration
yes.
to be accountable and transparent.
Now, let me just start. When I'm talking of River State, Wike is the FCT minister, right? And he was one time the governor. Let me just say that is the past governor of the River State.
Yeah.
So, and again, I want to say something that being him as a stakeholder, he has a major role to play in his state. But if you overstep your boundary, you are going to shame yourself. Now, this is my point that I tried to raise when I was making this first statement, that the governor bring people who they want them to be there by stylishly selecting them and using democracy system and INEC by telling the citizens that these were people elected. Now, imagine PDP was a very stronghold in the River State.
Yeah.
So not until when the Fubara and the Wike crisis
Had their fallouts.
Yes. And now, what you will believe me is that the system is already programmed for single person to take charge of the local government. If I'm a governor of the state, if I like, I will say, you come and contest for ABGA, and you will win. Because I'm going to use the judicial system and the law and INEC to deliver you. It is not necessarily about the people who are electing. It is about what the governor is giving them. Okay, look at in one state, is in the Taraba or is it Jigawa state that the PDP won all the local government. How is that possible? Because the governor itself is a PDP. Now, Fubara is not having a good time with the Wike, and he want to show him that this is my house. You know, governor is just like a tenant place that you go and rent for some time, you go. So if the Wike time has gone, let him leave. You can't disturb the landlord or maybe the head of the tenant there. So automatically, the local government staff, when you are talking of this policy and the recommendation from judicial systems and the Supreme Court, what I want you to know is that the civil servants, they are not happy because they know those people who they are bringing to come and take their fear of their local government are not their own will. Take example of the local government chairman in FCT. The local NUT, National Teacher Association, they're on strike for so many months now.
In the FCT?
In the FCT. For the past, when they resumed school, they did not go back. They were on strike. So the past 1 month and so now they are on strike because the local government chairmen, all of them just keep quiet because of their entitlement. These are government staff and these are their sweats. In one of the local government in FCT, a staff raised a point of them, the local government chairman, deducting their salary in their monthly payment and using it for their own pocket through the education secretary. They have to suspend that the staff for 3 months and hold his salary.
For 3 months?
Yes, because he made that statement and he don't want to escalate them. Someone that is earning like 50,000, 45,000 naira at the local government, and considering the hardship of this economy now,
and you deduct.
Yes, you still deduct, and after he talk, you still you still wait ahead.
His salary,
yes, his salary,
3 months.
and I did not pay him. What they do, they deduct the fund and collect it in cash and take it to the chairman of local government. This is what is happening, but many people are not asking, and many people are not saying it because they are afraid. The local government is going to use their red pen and say, "Please sack this person from the work." And if you come, they are going to use the system again to still frustrate that staff. How do you expect?
So, from the standpoint of budget now, what system or what structure do we have to put in place? Because now we're still basking in the euphoria of financial autonomy for the local governments. And here are the workers already shouting, okay, fine. Yes, so we are celebrating financial autonomy, but please don't give our salaries to the council.
Yes.
Pay us directly. How do we navigate this situation?
You see, in this context and aspect, that the governor is still going to that there's always a system that they're using. You are the president, I'm the governor. We know this, there is a system and a channel that rates that salary is going to get to Mr. A. But I will come and tell you that, look, there is 1% in that salary that I need as a governor. So if it go, is it that they increase their tax or they increase a lot of things that is happening? So, and the tax cannot even still benefit the citizens themselves.
Still goes into private pockets.
Yes.
Well, Abdullahi, of course, you know, time not our friend. We need to have this conversation again, as we continue to monitor developments at the local government councils, especially after the states have held their various local council elections, and then we can now begin to truly look at the instrument of financial autonomy, as it were. Well, to wrap up today's show, Nigeria is a federation with federal, state, and local governments making up its 3 tiers of government. Now, federal revenue is therefore owned by these 3 tiers of government, and the revenue allocation formula is the proportion of resources accruing to federation that goes to each of these tiers of government. Now, under the current formula, the federal government gets about 52.68%. The 36 states share 26.72%, while the 774 local government areas in the country share 20.60% every month. Now, there has been a clamor for a review of the formula to enable a more equitable sharing plan. It is worth noting that the last review of the revenue allocation formula was in 1992. So count back. You will know how long it has taken us to review that formula. Now, since then, the economic realities and political structure of the country has changed, with the increase in the number of states from 30 to 36, 30 as of 1992, to 36 as we speak, and of course including the FCT, and an increase in the number of local government councils from 589 as of 1992 to 774.1 as of today. Now, the proposed amendments therefore aims to streamline the process to ensure a seamless review that would reflect socio-economic changes and have which should have occurred since. Now, if we look at the 4th schedule, paragraph 1, subsection A of the 1999 Constitution, it underscores the role of local government in contributing to economic development within their jurisdictions. Now, local governments are tasked with making recommendations to the State Commission on Economic Planning regarding the state's economic growth, particularly in areas where the council and the state intersect. So, this responsibility necessitates local governments having financial capacity to contribute meaningfully to such discussions and initiatives as they are positioned to understand better the local needs and priorities, such as investing in infrastructural projects, supporting local businesses, and promoting employment opportunities tailored to local conditions. So they are closer to the people. They know what the people want. So you can't sit at the federal level and think that you understand what is happening at the local level. So this can lead to effective and responsive economic planning, ultimately contributing to overall economic growth. Well, that sums it up for today's edition of the show. We thank you for allowing us to be part of your morning, but trust us, as always, to keep our ears to the ground and our searchlight beamed on development. Tomorrow, it promises to be, you could say, a sequel to today's conversation, but it will be more focused on developments in Rivers State, as I will have a guest as we analyze all that has transpired since Monday in Rivers State, looking at the political drama, power tussle, and of course, the eventual turn of events. All that and more we promise you on tomorrow's edition of Correro. I am Nkamian John the Beloved, also known as the Controversial, saying, have a blessed day. Enjoy the rest of the programming right here on Rapid TV, channel 176 on Star Times. Until tomorrow, it's bye for now.